For most fans, it's that time of the year when they gotta make speculations about the future of their franchise and fantasize about dream scenarios regarding trades. One thing's for sure though, it seems likely that there's gonna be massive trades taking place once the action starts. Let's take a look at what to expect with Nets star Ben Simmons. First up, could Ben Simmons get traded before ever playing with the Brooklyn Nets? Even though he hasn't featured in the entire NBA season, trading Simmons in February made sense for Brooklyn. The presence of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving meant he wouldn't have to shoulder the scoring burden he did with Philly, and the Nets sorely needed this perimeter defending. And given his age and the 3 years remaining on his contract, it wasn't the end of the world if he didn't play this season. But him being traded to the team that started his year of chaos without playing for the team to which he was originally traded, that would be something. We'll see how it plays out, but the way the last few weeks have unfolded, been nothing short of a disaster though. Next, we have Chris Kirshner on the matter. Simmons has yet to play a single regulation minute for the Nets, but Hawks beat writer Chris Kirshner wrote in The Athletic this week that if he were an Atlanta fan, he'd keep an eye on Simmons this offseason, as the Hawks look for ways to upgrade before next season. Kirshner went on to say that several people within the Hawks organization wanted Simmons before the trade deadline. He explained that the cost of acquiring him now might not be as high, especially if Brooklyn decides to move him before he's played one game for the Nets. Now, the back injury that kept Simmons off the court. Simmons' back injury was first reported by Shams Charania of The Athletic as part of his reconditioning regimen after being traded to Brooklyn. The condition was initially dismissed as a minor inconvenience, but Simmons eventually required an epidural for pain relief in mid-March. There was hope that he'd be able to play in Brooklyn's final regular season game on April 10th, but the goalpost quickly shifted to the NBA playoffs after the epidural failed to provide long-term relief. Everyone looked towards Simmons when Boston took a 3-0 lead over Brooklyn and emerged as a game-changer ahead of Game 4. The 6'11" point guard refused to rule himself out of the elimination game, insisting that he'll play. But that was all smoke without fire because he didn't play, and the Nets were swept without him. As expected, the pitchforks came out for Simmons. Up next, Simmons opens up about his mental health struggles. During this press conference, Simmons stated publicly that he had been through difficult times that he preferred not to discuss. The 25-year-old last played a game on June 20th of 2021. He missed the entire season, some with Philadelphia before being traded to the Nets in a deal involving James Harden. His absence was down to a variety of reasons, including mental health concerns prior to the trade and what was initially referred to as back spasms after the trade. According to Shams Charania of The Athletic, Simmons ruled himself out of Game 4 of the Nets' first-round NBA playoff series against the Boston Celtics due to a mental block stemming from last summer's postseason. The problem is that he gave the impression that he was mentally and physically prepared to play, telling reporters that Game 4 was a reasonable target. According to Charania, the abrupt change caused frustration throughout the organization. The story also detailed how, for the Nets players, the confusion stemmed not from Simmons' injury, but from his apparent lack of effort to play, to be in uniform, or to push his body in these high-stake playoffs. Now for overcoming his mental and physical hurdles. The Nets said Simmons needed about 3 weeks for an initial recovery period before he could start his rehabilitation program. Simmons underwent a microdiscectomy, which involves removing a small fragment of a herniated disc to relieve pressure on the spinal column. Working through Simmons' mental issues will remain a top priority for the team going forward, as per Brooklyn's coach Steve Nash. Next, Ben Simmons' trade value is nosediving. According to the Ringer's Kevin O'Connor, Simmons' trade value is even murkier than it was before the Nets acquired him from the Philadelphia 76ers. And Bleacher Report's Jake Fisher spoke with a general manager who shared a similar sentiment, saying he doesn't believe Simmons has any real trade value. He explained how the 25-year-old hasn't been accountable for 2 franchises, nor has he played an entire season due to a back injury. Fisher voiced his thoughts on the matter by asking how anyone could do a trade with the kind of uncertainty that Simmons brings. It's understandable that the man needed some time off, with his surgery and dwindling mental health, but it sounds increasingly like Simmons isn't going to return to the court unless he's traded. As he makes progress on this end, his trade value plummets on the other. And that, friends, is a lose-lose situation. Because after a couple of weeks of focusing on the mental health aspects of his situation, it once again sounds like a trade is the focal point surrounding Simmons here. Which means that, for now, Simmons' value is going to keep on tumbling. And if he doesn't get around to playing any more basketball before a trade, how are the Nets gonna reinflate interest around the league in this guy? So, is Simmons a good fit for the Hawks? These rumblings stem from Kirshner being asked if either Utah Jazz star Donovan Mitchell or Rudy Gobert would be an answer for the Hawks, who fell short of the Eastern Conference Finals after a miraculous run last season. The Hawks' roster clearly needs some retooling as they look to build a contender around Trae Young, but we're not convinced Simmons is the answer, even if his price is lower than it was 6 months ago. While Young has shown himself to be a fairly ball-dominant guard, someone who really doesn't thrive off ball. Just 5.6% of his shots last last year were catch and shoot, while 47.3% of his shots came after 7 or more dribbles. Simmons is, of course, particularly useless without the ball in his hands in the half court. Reminder, he can't shoot. This presents a serious problem for the team building a playoff success. And unfortunately, because of his limitations, we don't know who Simmons actually is a good fit for. Moving on to some other news. Golden State Warriors beat Dallas Mavericks in Game 3. The Golden State Warriors advanced to the NBA Finals with a 109-100 victory over the Dallas Mavericks in the Western Conference Playoff Final. Pro player Stephen Curry led the Warriors by 32 points, while Slovenian local Luka Doncic led the Mavericks with 40. We should add, no team in NBA history has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in the playoffs. Andrew Wiggins scored 27 points to lead the Warriors to the NBA Finals for the 6th time in 8 seasons. They led 48-47 at halftime, but they managed to take back control in the third quarter, with Curry scoring 11 points to put the Warriors up 78-68 before holding off the Mavericks in the fourth. In the Eastern Conference Series, the Miami Heat led the Boston Celtics 2-1 with Game 4 taking place in Boston. UNC Basketball Museum makes space for Caleb Love. Love's famous shot marker was a big moment for him. It remains the furthest away shot from the basketball of all of the included shots, surpassing the previously farthest marker of the infamous Marcus Page's game-tying shot in the 2016 national title game against Villanova. The 20-year-old certainly isn't afraid of the spotlight, and the UNC Basketball Museum was sure that they gave it. Not only was Love's shot added to the museum, but the sign near the entrance was also updated to show that the UNC basketball program has now been to 21 total Final Fours. The addition just goes to show how important the shot is already considered by the UNC basketball program. While this is a special moment for Love, we're certain that he hopes to add more to this and his teammates' legacy by bringing home a title before his time in Chapel Hill concludes. Illinois basketball. The Illini have made an offer to the 2023 New Zealand PF. Illinois is looking forward to more Big Ten titles and the possibility of winning a national championship when all is said and done. Though this feat has yet to be accomplished under head coach Brad Underwood, the Orange and Blue will look to improve at key positions such as power forward. On May 12th, Illinois extended another scholarship offer, this time to Tafara Gapare, a rising star from New Zealand. Gaspare attends South Kent School in Connecticut and lives in the United States to pursue his basketball dreams at the collegiate and professional levels. And that's a wrap for this video. Given that Simmons is still refusing to suit up for the basketball court, doesn't look like his trade value will be going up in the charts anytime soon. What do you think? Let us know in the comment section below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. I'll see you in the next one.